This is Mrs. Trupti Wagh, Assistant Professor from Electronics and Telecommunication Department of D.Y. Patil College of Engineering, Akurdi, Pune, Maharashtra. I am one of the participants of International FDP on Environment and Sustainability. My today's topic for presentation is Impact of Integrated Circuits on Environment and Sustainability through Semiconductors Manufacturing Process. As we have seen in previous two videos, the contents which I have shared, they are based on uses of semiconductors, semiconductor manufacturing process, its environmental impacts, EPA and Kyoto Protocol for PFC emissions. I have also shared e-waste and its recycling rate as per EPA report, International E-Waste Management Networks, some figures and facts with KYEC Taiwan and Texas Instruments related to the semiconductor chip fabrication materials. Also, I have discussed ISO standards and certifications typically for the semiconductor industries. After observing this video, all learners will understand the emission categories prescribed by Greenhouse Gas Protocol, product carbon footprint and global warming potential for semiconductor process gases, carbon footprint calculations, sustainability case studies of Fuji Electrical Global and NXP, some sustainability criteria, their performance, and sustainable futuristic approach for semiconductors. These are some standards specifically for semiconductor and electronics industries described by ISO. ISO 14001, ISO 9001, ISO CD 196947. These are the standards for the semiconductor industries. 62659 2015 described by IEEE for large-scale manufacturing of nanoelectronics. JEITA is a Japan Electronics and Information Technology Industries Association standard. IATF, OHSAS and EMAS, these are eco-management and audit schemes followed in the semiconductor electronics industries. Moving ahead, the emission categories which are described by Greenhouse Gas Protocol are specifically categorized in the three classes. The first class is all direct emissions, indirect emissions and all other indirect emissions. In the first class, the gas boilers, fleet vehicles and air conditioning leaks, for an example, they are considered. In the indirect emissions, during the production of energy, if any electricity is purchased, that is included. And in all other indirect emissions, sources that do not own or control emissions, they are associated. So thus, these are the three categories into which all the semiconductor process gases are categorized. Moving ahead, if we see the product carbon footprint calculation, in the life cycle of any of the electronic product, the carbon footprint can be calculated in the following steps. It may be the carbon footprint of material, carbon footprint of energy and fuel, the carbon footprint related to its usage, the carbon footprint at the end of life of that particular product. So end of life process, it typically includes transportation of waste, disposal or recycling process. So all this cumulatively gives the carbon footprint of a product totally. Now parameters which we should be knowing for calculation of product carbon footprint are carbon footprint itself and the global warming potential, that is GWP. Carbon footprint can be calculated by multiplying the greenhouse gases emissions by their global warming potential value. Now as per the carbon footprint amount, it is used for comparing the radiative forcing of other greenhouse gases related to the carbon dioxide, and hence it is expressed in carbon dioxide equivalents into a metric tons. GWP, that is global warming potential. If I go it with the IPCC 2007, the predefined time period is 100 years. So GWP 100 will indicate 100 years time perspective chosen for the calculation of global warming potential. These are as per the guidelines given by IPCC, that is Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. If we see the global warming potential for all the gases which are included in semiconductor process, they are mentioned as per the IPCC. For an example, if I want to calculate the carbon footprint of perfluoromethane, that is CF4, the global warming potential for 100 years over a CO2 equivalent is 6500, and these are as per the guidelines of IPCC. So in this slide I have listed the formulas and the global warming potential for all semiconductor process gases. Now if I want to calculate the carbon footprint, I should be knowing the greenhouse gas emission factors. So as per the WSC, that is World Semiconductor Council, and 2006 IPCC guidelines, if the wafer size is produced have a 200 millimeter or a smaller diameter, in that case the specific gas emission factors for the CF4, C2F6 and all the gases, greenhouse gases, which are included in carbon footprint for manufacturing of a particular semiconductor material. Taking an example of CF4, it is required 0.36 kilograms per meter squares. So 0.36 kilogram per meter square is the emission factor for manufacturing 200 millimeter or a smaller diameter wafer size. So if particularly I have taken an example of perfluoromethane CF4, the GWP 100 as per WSC calculation, they are 65 into 10 to the power 5 kg. The emission factor as per WSC for 200 millimeter wafer size, it is 0.36 kilogram per meter square. So carbon footprint for this CF4 will be the emission into the respective GWP. So carbon footprint of 200 millimeter chip over a 1 year, if I calculate, it comes as 23.4 into 10 to the power 3 kilogram per meter square. So from here, for a 1 year, if 200 millimeter chip is fabricated, 23.4 into 10 to the power 3 kilogram per meter square, this much carbon footprint is there. So you all can assume that over a complete industry scenario, how much carbon footprint will be there. Now criteria for assessing the sustainability performance. If I want to make a particular material a sustainable, particular product a material sustainable, I should be calculating its sustainability performance through some categories. These categories are mentioned in the Silicon Revolution Sustainability Disclosure and Performance in Semiconductor Manufacturing Industries by Swarali Bhatt, the student of St. George State University. She has taken a period of 2010 to 2014 and have seen the performance of some 20 companies altogether. By following its interview methods and the calculation parts, some categories has been designed, and they are the energy use, waste generation, water consumption, greenhouse gas emissions, other particular emissions, and ecological responsibility. So all the subcategories and units of analysis for this particular criteria has been mentioned. So through all these criterias, if we assess the sustainability, the performance of semiconductor industry can be calculated towards sustainability. In the same resource or in the same reference, the candidate has performed criteria analysis for few of the companies, and the best practices which are used by that particular companies for ensuring the sustainability towards the environment has been listed in this particular slide. So there are total 28 best practices which are taken as a reference, and all the companies, those who are following all these categories, definitely they will be the more sustainable developing products towards the semiconductor manufacturing. Moving ahead, if we see the case study for a sustainability into the semiconductor industries, the first case study is Fuji Electric Global. This particular company has started the power IC, that too with low standby power PWM, that is pulse width modulation mechanism, for an integrated circuit. Now some features of this IC, they have a built-in low standby power functions. So considering all the features which are listed over here, if we see the application of this particular IC, it has been used in various power supply circuits and can be applied to LCD TV and the printers. So if for a particular year the company has measured or compared the carbon emission footprint with a previous year conventional product, it indicates that the reduction of CO2 emissions by about 650 gram per year has been achieved. Similarly, the second criteria for sustainability, if we see into the second figure, that is with related to the yearly power consumption, including some power losses. So they have achieved the power saving of about 1382 watts per hour per year. So this is what is sustainable solution they are proposing with this low standby power PWM IC. Similarly, the second company, which is a NXP Semiconductors from Netherlands, they have proactively reviewed POU abandonment. What is this POU? It's a point of use abandonment when they maintain, replace or relocate existing fabrication tools. In 2019, they have published the Chandler Fab installed 4 abandonment equipment to further reduce the emission of perfluorocarbons, which are the important chemicals used into the etching of the semiconductor process. As a global company, they use Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change IPCC directives for the calculations of this PFC emissions, and they follow the Tier 2B methodology. Now for this particular company, at the end of year, if they calculate the total PFC emissions, the impact which is observed, which you all can also see, from 2010 to 2019, the normalized total PFC emissions, they have decreased it by 52% by using Chandler Fab process. But the trade-off definitely is there. So the products which have been developed by NXP for decreasing the PFC emissions, they are requiring some additional manufacturing steps, and hence there will be a more cost associated with it. Similarly, as per the declarations given by GHG, the company has monitored the total scope of first, second and third category of emissions, which are enlisted in this graph. So between 2010 and 19, the total emission scope of 1, 2 and 3, that is direct and indirect, they are decreased approximately by 24%, and total absolute emissions, they are reduced by 18%. But the one factor which we should observe on this is the electricity requirements have not been changed or decreased by that much amount, which is related to the emission factors of a perfluorocarbons. So again we can say it's a trade-off in this NXP solutions also. Now sustainability performance, which we have seen in the last video also, we can concentrate on King Yun Electronics company from the Taiwan. So this company basically, they do the chip testing services for smartphones, automotive CIS components, 5G base stations, Bitcoin and microcontrollers. So what they have done, they have taken some eco-friendly measures and safer work environment for employees, and they have also implemented 30 energy saving measures. Because of these things and replacing the lead acid batteries by lithium batteries, they could achieve 3216 kilowatts hour of energy saving, and the carbon emissions are reduced by 16,757 metric tons. But similarly, the trade-off which still remains is the huge cost and long-term return on the environment cycle. So what will be the sustainable futuristic approach for this particular semiconductors? It retains about the material which is used for the semiconductors. Nowadays, the research has been initiated in the self-healing electronic materials. So what is this self-healing electronic material? They are some strain-sensitive, stretchable and autonomous self-healing semiconductor films which mimics the self-healing capability of a skin. So this has been reported in a new report of Science Advances, where an interdisciplinary research team from US and South Korea have reported a strain-sensitive, stretchable and autonomous self-healing semiconductor film. This reference is listed in the stretchable self-healing semiconductor polymer films for electronic skin by Thermes Jivendra from Physics Organization. So, if we find out the sustainable approach for a semiconductor manufacturing, the trade-off is observed between the emissions of a toxic materials. But if we want to reduce that, the electricity consumption is still a trade-off component. Similarly, the cost is also a trade-off component for including fabrication process. So the solution to it, maybe into the research, can be taken as a self-healing electronic materials. Thank you.